In a quiet suburban neighborhood, Karen prided herself on keeping things orderly and traditional. She often found herself noticing the smallest details in her surroundings, and this sensitivity turned into irritation when Diwali approached. Her Indian neighbors, excitedly celebrating the festival of lights, strung colorful lights around their home. To Karen's eyes, the vibrant hues shone too brightly against the backdrop of the calm autumn evenings. Karen felt these decorations were not just a nuisance but also inappropriate for their community. "It's just too much," she muttered to herself as she watched the lights twinkle from her window. She couldn't help but think that their festivities disrupted the peaceful atmosphere she believed her neighborhood should maintain. Fueled by her frustration, Karen decided to take action. She picked up her phone and drafted a formal complaint to the Homeowners Association, HOA. In her letter, she described how the lights distracted from the simplicity that she cherished and how they seemed out of place among more subdued decorations. Meanwhile, her neighbors continued to celebrate with joy and pride, unaware of Karen's growing discontent. As Diwali drew closer, the neighborhood became a blend of celebrations and differences. For Karen, however, it felt like an ongoing battle against what she considered excess in a place where harmony should reign. With her complaint filed, she hoped the HOA would see things from her perspective and bring order back to their streets. After sending her complaint to the Homeowners Association, Karen felt a mix of determination and anxiety. She believed that by taking this step, she was not just speaking for herself but also for those who preferred the calm, gentle ambience of their neighborhood. As she paced around her home, she imagined how the HOA would respond. "Surely, they'd see it my way," she thought. In her letter, Karen meticulously laid out her concerns about the Diwali lights. She described how they intruded on the quiet evenings that she cherished, feeling as if the bright colors turned the peaceful fall nights into a carnival atmosphere. The twinkling lights, she argued, were too much for a community that valued simplicity and order. To her, it felt as if her neighbors were disregarding the set norms that everyone had followed. Karen's desire for a cooperative living environment pushed her to advocate for what she viewed as community standards. As days went by, she wondered whether the HOA would act quickly or if her neighbors would continue their celebrations unbothered. Each time she noticed the glowing lights shining through her window, her frustration simmered anew. She hoped that the board would recognize her concerns and restore what she viewed as the rightful peace of their neighborhood, convinced that harmony could only flourish through adherence to tradition. As Karen focused on her complaint, it was easy for her to overlook the rich tapestry of cultures woven throughout her neighborhood. The community was a vibrant blend of backgrounds, each contributing its unique traditions and celebrations. Families from different parts of the world lived side by side, creating an atmosphere that was lively and full of color. During Diwali, Indian families would light their homes with bright decorations, sharing sweets and joy with neighbors. This festival brought warmth and excitement, showcasing how they honored their heritage and shared it with others. A few streets over, Hispanic families celebrated Dia de los Muertos with colorful altars and marigolds, inviting everyone to join in remembering loved ones. Meanwhile, the winter holidays were marked by festive lights strung across porches and homes, where people gathered for Christmas parties filled with laughter. The blend of these celebrations created a sense of community that thrived on diversity. Neighbors shared meals during potlucks, exchanged greetings during holidays, and learned about each other's customs. While Karen saw the Diwali lights as an intrusion on her idea of order, many others appreciated them as a celebration of life and culture. Despite her frustrations, Karen's neighbors were proud of their backgrounds and eager to share their traditions. Each celebration added to the neighborhood's character, highlighting the beauty found within differences, a lesson that might eventually reach even Karen's heart. As the holiday season approached, the excitement in the neighborhood began to build. The air turned crisp, and twinkling lights started to appear on various homes. While Karen was preoccupied with her frustrations about the Diwali decorations, her thoughts began to shift as she imagined her own Christmas display. Each year, Karen took great pride in transforming her yard into a festive wonderland. This season, she planned something truly spectacular. She envisioned a grand setup featuring a 25-foot inflatable Santa Claus that would tower over everything else, delighting not only her children but also passers-by. With an added touch of music playing cheerful holiday tunes, she hoped it would capture the spirit of Christmas and bring joy to everyone around. As November rolled into December, Karen found herself eagerly shopping for decorations. She carefully selected ornaments and lights, envisioning how they would blend with the giant Santa. Each evening, as she watched her neighbors celebrating Diwali with their colorful lights, a flicker of envy sparked within her. She wanted recognition for her own festive efforts. Karen couldn't wait to unveil her display, believing it would brighten the winter days just as much as the Diwali lights did for her neighbors. However, with each passing day, the anticipation mingled with anxiety about potential reactions from those who had filed complaints against her neighbors. Would they see her holiday cheer as a welcome addition, or would it become yet another point of contention? Finally, the day arrived for Karen to set up her much-anticipated Christmas display. As she opened the large box containing her 25-foot inflatable Santa, her excitement bubbled over. This was not just any holiday decoration, it was a towering symbol of her festive spirit, and she envisioned it becoming the talk of the neighborhood. With a sense of determination, Karen carefully placed the inflatable Santa at the center of her yard, making sure it would be visible from every angle. As she plugged it in, the massive figure began to inflate, quickly transforming into a cheerful icon that beckoned everyone passing by. The moment Santa was fully upright, he lit up with colorful lights and began to play lively holiday tunes. The music rang out joyfully, filling the crisp winter air with familiar melodies that echoed down the street. Neighbors walking by paused to smile and wave at Karen as they heard the cheerful sounds wafting from her yard. She couldn't help but feel a warm glow inside as children laughed and pointed at Santa, eyes full of wonder. For Karen, this was a moment of triumph, an opportunity to showcase her love for Christmas while sharing joy with those around her. As she worked on decorating further with sparkling lights and ornaments, Karen felt a flood of happiness wash over her. In that moment, she believed she was not only embracing the holiday season but also reclaiming what she considered the rightful spirit of festivity in their community. As Karen reveled in her Christmas display, her Indian neighbors began to feel the effects of the loud holiday music echoing through the neighborhood. While they celebrated Diwali with their own colorful lights and traditions, the joyous tunes from Karen's yard disrupted their evening gatherings. What had once been a peaceful atmosphere now felt strained, as they struggled to hear one another over the booming sounds of holiday cheer. Concerned about the noise level, the neighbors discussed the situation among themselves. They recalled how Karen had filed a complaint against them for their Diwali lights, feeling it was only fair to voice their own concerns about her setup. After some deliberation, they decided to file a formal complaint with the Homeowners Association, citing violations of the community's noise regulations. The decision weighed heavily on them. They did not want to create conflict but felt compelled to protect their right to enjoy their cultural celebrations without disruption. With each passing evening, as Karen's inflatable Santa continued to shine brightly and play music, their frustration grew. They believed that everyone should respect community guidelines, and they hoped the HOA would ensure fairness in maintaining peace for all residents. As news of their complaint reached Karen, she felt blindsided. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had been so focused on celebrating her own holiday spirit that she forgot about the impact it might have on others. Now, she faced potential scrutiny from the HOA once again. The HOA meeting was scheduled for a Wednesday evening, filling the small community center with neighbors eager to discuss the growing tension between residents. As the members gathered around a long table, emotions ran high. Karen sat with a knot in her stomach, anxiously waiting for her turn to speak. Across the room, her Indian neighbors quietly exchanged glances, sharing in their own unease. The board members began by addressing the complaints they've received recently, emphasizing the importance of respecting one another's cultural celebrations. They highlighted how diverse traditions enriched their community and reminded everyone that mutual respect was essential for harmony. As Karen nervously listened, some board members outlined the necessity of having clear guidelines on decorations and noise levels, aiming to strike a balance between personal expression and community peace. They acknowledged Karen's complaint about the Diwali lights but also recognized the impact of her own display's music, urging sensitivity in both directions. One board member suggested recalling the spirit of inclusivity, emphasizing that each celebration should be an opportunity to learn from one another rather than create division. The Indian neighbors bravely voiced their thoughts, expressing how they felt targeted by the earlier complaint while striving to maintain their festive spirit. In a unanimous decision, the board voted to support Diwali decorations and propose restrictions on audio displays for holiday setups. As this new resolution was announced, Karen felt her frustration boil over, a mix of disbelief and anger at what she perceived as an unfair outcome. As the board members deliberated on the best course of action regarding holiday decorations, a palpable tension hung in the air. After hearing from both sides, they acknowledged the validity of each complaint but emphasized the importance of harmony within the community. Finally, the moment of decision arrived, and the chairperson called for a vote regarding Diwali decorations and audio displays. With a steady voice, the chair explained that allowing Diwali lights would both honor cultural diversity and foster community spirit. The board members nodded in agreement, understanding how much these celebrations meant to those who practiced them. One by one, they cast their votes in favor of permitting Diwali decorations. The unanimous decision echoed through the room as Karen felt her heart sink. However, alongside this was another critical point, recognizing the need for peace amid festivities. The board unanimously agreed to restrict audio displays for all holiday setups to maintain a tranquil environment for residents. This meant limiting any loud music or sounds during celebrations, something that drew a sigh of relief from those concerned about noise levels. As the decisions were announced, many members applauded, feeling optimistic about moving forward together as a community. But for Karen, this outcome was deeply frustrating. She felt her own celebratory spirit was being stifled while her neighbors received support. The contrast left her fuming as she grappled with feelings of anger and disbelief at what she considered an unjust resolution to what she had deemed unacceptable in her neighborhood. As the news of the board's decision sunk in, Karen felt a wave of frustration wash over her. She couldn't believe that the very complaint she had lodged about her neighbor's Diwali lights had turned into a situation where her own festive spirit was being targeted. The irony of it all twisted in her gut. Here she was, trying to embrace the joy of Christmas with her grand display, yet it seemed like the board had dismissed her enthusiasm entirely. Karen's mind raced as she replayed the meeting in her head. How could they prioritize Diwali decorations over my Christmas traditions, she thought bitterly. The decision felt like a slap in the face, especially since she had been so vocal about her concerns regarding noise levels and decor appropriateness just weeks before. She had fought for what she believed was right, only to see that same fight turn against her. Standing in her yard, surrounded by twinkling lights and the cheerful music of Santa, Karen felt more isolated than ever. It seemed as if the joy she wanted to share was overshadowed by a sense of unfairness. Her neighbors were now free to celebrate as they wished while she faced restrictions on her own holiday cheer. This realization made her fume. It was as if someone had pressed mute on her celebrations while applauding those of others. In that moment, the spirit of the season felt far away, replaced by resentment and confusion over what had unfolded in their community. As she stood in her yard, surrounded by her bright decorations and the fading tunes of Santa, Karen's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts. She glanced at her neighbors' homes, still glowing from their Diwali celebrations, and felt a mix of envy and frustration. Why couldn't they all just enjoy their traditions without it turning into a competition? The decision from the board weighed heavily on her, leaving her with unresolved feelings. Karen realized that her complaint about the Diwali lights had ignited a chain reaction that now left her feeling sidelined. Should she continue to focus on her grievances, insisting that her own holiday spirit mattered just as much? Or should she try to embrace the diversity around her, recognizing that each celebration brought something valuable to the community? Deep down, she longed for connection, but her resentment clouded her ability to appreciate the richness of cultural differences. The vibrant lights and laughter of her neighbors mingling together during Diwali should have been a moment of unity, yet she found herself feeling excluded and bitter instead. As the evening turned darker, Karen pondered whether she could shift her perspective. Could she find joy in understanding and celebrating the traditions of others instead of feeling threatened by them? With these thoughts swirling in her head, she knew that for now, her feelings remained tangled, leaving her at a crossroads between embracing community diversity or continuing to dwell on her grievances.